Hello children, hope you are doing great. And today we are discussing a chapter behind me that is morphology. And you know pretty well the questions which are asked from morphology are all exam based. Majority of you may find this chapter easy because you have read these examples many times. Some of you may find it a little difficult because there are too many examples in this particular topic. I, being a tutor, will be of less significance as far as this chapter is concerned, because unless and until you read this chapter many times, you're not going to gain perfection. What did I do? I kept all the examples at one place. So that is the service I can do for you, such that you can go through all the examples in one stroke. Let us start this topic without wasting any time. The topic name is morphology. We will be discussing the important points about this topic. Now, curly top virus spreads through phloem. Now, this is an important point. And it was reported by a scientist called Catherine Escher. Anatomy of Seed Plants is a book written by her. And it is considered as Webster of the plant biology. This point, please remember, the scientists' names are important for you to remember. Now, the first point is differences between taproot and adventitious root. All of you know that a seed contains radicle, which is said to be an embryonic root. Radicle, whether it's a dicot or monocot, develops into a primary root. Now, what happens in dicots? This primary root becomes long and tapering. Because it is long and tapering, hence rightly called taproot. On either side of it, you see the presence of lateral roots. You can even call them as secondary roots or tertiary roots. This entire root system is said to be taproot system. It is seen for the first time in gymnosperms, and within angiosperms, it is seen in dicots. Now, the second type of root system is said to be fibrous root system, or you can even call it as adventitious root system. I'll tell you the difference in a minute. Here also, the radicle develop into primary root, but the primary root is short-lived. In place of primary root, a tuft of roots develop. They look like a bunch of roots at the base of the stem. You call them as fibrous roots. This root system, unlike taproot system, is shallow or superficial, and it is distinctly seen in grass family, that is Poaceae, or members of monocots. Now, I promised you by saying that I'll tell you the difference between fibrous roots and adventitious roots. Listen, any root developing from any part of the plant other than radicle or primary root is said to be adventitious root. So, taproot can never be an example for adventitious root because it is developing by the direct elongation of primary root. I said other than primary root is adventitious. So can I call fibrous roots as adventitious? Totally correct. Can I call the prop roots arising from banyan tree branches adventitious? Yes, because they are not arising from the primary root. Can I call the stilt roots arising from the basal nodes of maize adventitious? Yes, because they are not arising from primary root. Shall I say this? All adventitious roots are fibrous roots? No. All fibrous roots are adventitious roots? Yes. So all fibrous roots are adventitious because they are not arising from primary root, but all adventitious roots need not be fibrous. Look at prop roots of banyan, they are not fibrous. Look at stilt roots of maize, they are not fibrous. Now you got a doubt. When I call adventitious root as fibrous, only when it arises from the base of the stem, such adventitious roots are called fibrous roots. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Can a plant have taproot and adventitious? Yes, banyan tree. It's a dicot, taproot, and horizontal branches of it are adventitious. Can a plant have fibrous root and adventitious? Why not? Sugarcane, maize and sorghum. It has fibrous roots and adventitious roots called stilt roots arising from basal nodes. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Can a plant have taproot and fibrous root? Yes, you told the answer. The answer is no, because both taproot and fibrous root arise from the base of the stem. You can't have both of them in one place. That's it. Now what did I say here? Primary root. Now look here. First I told you for taproot. The primary root in dicots and gymnosperms, all right, is long and tapering, hence taproot. And the lateral roots, which are arising from pericycle or endogenous, include secondary and tertiary roots. Taproot system include primary roots and lateral roots. This diagram is an example for that. Then we talk about the next one is the primary root is short-lived, and a tuft of roots develop from the base of the stem in monocots and are called fibrous roots. It is superficial, unlike taproot system, is a point you have to understand. All roots develop from any part of the plant other than primary root are called adventitious roots. They arise for the first time in pteridophytes and seen in all plants, that is dicots and gymnosperms. Now, this point I told you, all fibrous roots are adventitious roots, and all adventitious roots need not be fibrous. Now, we'll start with some root modifications. You know what is the meaning of modification? If any root undergo a permanent change so as to perform an entirely new function, or a new function along with its original function, is said to be modification. Before I talk about new function, let me tell you what are the functions of root. A, anchorage, that is fixation. B, absorption of water and conduction of water into the shoot system, absorption of minerals and conduction of water into the shoot system. It can also help in storage. So these are the functions of root system: anchorage, absorption of water and minerals, conduction into the shoot system, and storage. Now, some modifications, children. First one is monstera. It has adventitious roots. Mustard, the first diagram in your textbook, it has called taproot, being a dicot. Look here, there are some examples I have shown. Carrot, this taproot is conical. Conical storage root is seen, what is called in carrot. Next is turnip, napiform. You know what is napiform? Very much broad at the base and very much narrow at the tip. Very much broad at the base and narrow at the tip is napiform. That is seen in turnip. Radish, fusiform. You know what is fusiform? It is broader in the middle, narrow at the tip and base is said to be fusiform. These are the points which you have to remember. Right. Then we already talked about banyan, pillar-like prop roots. This is the mechanical root. Maize, stilt roots. What are the meaning of stilt roots? They arise from basal nodes. They also help in mechanical support. They give mechanical support to the plant. Sugarcane. Rhizophora. Look here, this is the photograph of a plant which contains respiratory roots. You could see some of the lateral roots are growing negatively geotrophic, bearing many pores on it, responsible for intake of oxygen. Why they should be there? When the soil is waterlogged, oxygen cannot reach the root system. So some of the roots are negatively geotrophic, bear many pores on it such that they can breathe. Could you give me one more example of negatively geotrophic roots? Yes, children, you guessed correctly. It is coralloid roots in cycas is one more example for that. Cycas coralloid roots are negatively geotrophic. They are nitrogen fixing because they contain Anabina cycadacearum in its middle cortex, which can help in fixation of root. Pinus shows mycorrhizal roots. Yesterday we were talking about plant kingdom. There I said an association with roots of pinus is a fungi which does the job of absorbing water and minerals. Legumes shows nodular roots. In Monera chapter we studied Rhizobium bacteria is a symbiotic bacteria present in the root nodules of legume plants. That is the reason every part of legume plant is rich in proteins. Then Pistia and Iconia show balancing roots, not there in your book. A tuft of roots develop at the base of the leaves, rosette leaves, which act like a dead weight. So because these plants are going to float on the surface of water, balancing roots. Salvia, this is an important example based on the diagram. It is a rootless pteridophyte. In your textbook, Salvinia. Did I say salvia? I think I said. It is not salvia, Salvinia. In Salvinia, children, you are going to see a diagram in pteridophytes chapter. There are some root-like structures. Don't get mistaken. They are not roots. They are modified leaves. So some of the leaves are normal. Some of the leaves are dissected, act as roots. So it means that it's an example of a rootless pteridophyte. Ulfia. It is also a rootless plant. It's a rootless angiosperm. Then Amorphophallus, Jamin Khan you call. It has pull roots. I don't think it's needed for you to remember. All right. And some examples I told you, children. Markensia. These are the points which you have to remember. Markensia and Prothallus of ferns. This is from plant kingdom. They have unicellular rhizoids. Funaria. They have multicellular rhizoids. The ploid is N. So they are not true roots. Fast true roots develop in pteridophytes. I brought one or two examples of plant kingdom deliberately here such that it becomes more easier. What is the main function? I already told you. It is anchorage, absorption, storage of food, and synthesis of hormones are the main function. When we talk about the hormones with regard to root system, all of you know that auxins, more auxins, less cytokinins help in the development of roots from callus. And root hairs develop in large quantities in the presence of ethylene. And cytokinins are hormones, children, generally synthesized in large amounts within the root system. Right. Then the regions of root, this is the very important point you have to remember. Children, this is the root stem junction. Concentrate here. Root stem junction. Anything far away from root stem junction is said to be distal, because the word far away, synonym for that is distal. So this is the root stem junction. Far away is distal. So what is the distalmost part of the root? The root apex or meristematic zone. It has got meristematic cells which keep dividing, plenty of plasmodesmata, dense cytoplasm. Then I take region of elongation. What is the terminology I use? Proximal to meristematic zone, there is region of elongation. Proximal. Why I say proximal? Because this region is more nearer to root stem junction. So in comparison to this, this is nearer. So therefore I use the word proximal. Proximal to the region of root apex is the region of elongation. Large vacuolation, new cell wall synthesis, turgidity of cells because of entry of water, region of elongation. Then region of maturation. How can you forget a question which was asked on 3rd of May? Root hairs and lateral roots arise from which region of root? The answer is region of maturation. Major amount of root is with region of maturation. All right. Timber-like structure, the apex of root is root cap. Well, you know that. It protects the meristematic region of root. Region of elongation. It helps in absorbing more water. The cells become turgid. And the region of maturation, root hairs and lateral roots arise from this region. That's it. That's root, children. Took a little time for me to complete, but I'm pretty sure that you're able to remember everything here. Right. Then we talk about the stem. Why you call any organ a stem? What is the criteria for calling any organ a stem? It should have nodes and internodes. It should have axillary buds in the axil of leaves. It should have terminal bud at the tip of the main axis of branches. It should bear leaves at nodes. So any structure with the following set of characters is said to be stem. All right. So look at the pull roots of banyan. Why you are not calling a stem? Because it doesn't have any of these. Are you following? Then what about rhizome, corm, stem tuber, bulb, underground stems? Why you are not calling roots? Why you are calling stem? Because all of them have this. Did you follow what I said? Look at rhizome. If you look at rhizome, this is a rhizome. So it contains scale leaves. It contains scale leaves. So it means this is a node. This is a node. All right, yes or no? Then this is the internode. The terminal bud is going to give rise to aerial leafy shoot, and axillary bud is going to give rise to a daughter rhizome. So naturally, rhizome is said to be a stem because it has got all these characters. If it is vertically moving, you call it a scorm, all the set of characters. Stem tuber contain eyes. What is an eye? It's an axillary bud along with scale leaf. So it should be a stem. So now it's very clear. These are the characters of stems. What is the main function of stem? Spreading of branches bearing leaves, flowers and fruits. It conducts water and minerals and photosynthetes, that is sucrose. So conduction of water, minerals from root system to leaves. Conduction of photosynthetes means sucrose from leaves to different parts of the plant including root. Spreading leaves to sunlight, branches. These are the main functions of stem. Now, underground stems, your textbook says underground stems are called subterranean stems. They are organs of perennation because they are long lasting. Ganges is a perennial river. Perennial means long lasting. So if I am an underground stem containing plant, I can rest assured that no herbivore is going to eat me because my storage organs are inside. They are not visible. So underground stem containing plants have long perennation. The amount of food they store, they act as a reserve food under unfavorable conditions too. Ginger and turmeric. The underground stem is horizontally moving, rhizome, even in equisetum, even in ferns. Colocasia and Jameen concom, even colchicum, it moves vertically up. RV, colocasia. All right, yam is Amorphophallus. Potato, it contains stem tuber. And all of you know that the stem tuber contain eyes. And onion and garlic contain bulb. You know what is bulb? Bulb is a highly condensed stem. The stem is highly condensed here. All right, when the stem is highly condensed, then all the leaves appear to arise from the same point. These are all the storage leaves. These are all the storage leaves. This is the leaf lamina. So now it's very clear that these are the leaf bases which are going to store food. This entire thing is bulb. This is the highly condensed stem. All right, so these are the roots which arise from it. You know, it's a fibrous root. So therefore, bulb is also an example for this. From underground stems, rhizome, corm, stem tuber, bulb. Onion and garlic is bulb. Potato is stem tuber. Colocasia and Amorphophallus is corm. Ginger and turmeric is rhizome. Now we get into aerial stem modifications without any delay. Gourds and grapevine, stem tendrils. All right. And how are these stem tendrils? They are leafless. They help in climbing. Look at this diagram, children. It's very clear that this plant has a weak stem plant. So axillary bud is modified into a tendril. It coils round the support and allow this weak stem plant to stand erect. Question you're going to ask me, you said it is leafless. When it is leafless, why you call it a stem? That's a nice question. But understand that axillary bud is giving rise to a tendril. When axillary bud is giving rise to a tendril, it should be definitely a stem modification. You may ask me why. Bud is nothing but a highly condensed stem with overlapping of leaves. So when bud is developing, it is the stem which is developing. Highly condensed stem with overlapping leaves is bud. So if bud is going to give rise to any structure, invariably underline it as a stem modification. Agreed? This is an example of stem tendrils. Gourds and grapevine is an example for that. Then citrus and bougainvillea. They contain stem thorns. They help in defense. And they can even grow. Defense. Very tricky point, children. Thorns are not meant to reduce water loss. Just like spines, thorns are pointed. But the main job of thorn is protecting from herbivores. What are spines? Leaf modifications seen on opuntia, seen on euphorbia. They are meant to reduce water loss. Thorn's job is defense. All right. Opuntia is an example of flattened phylloclade. What is a phylloclade? It's a flat green stem performing photosynthesis. You may ask me why the stem has to perform photosynthesis. Because leaves are reduced to spines. Then somebody should take over the job of leaves. The stem says, I will do the job of photosynthesis. It becomes flat and succulent in Opuntia. It becomes long and cylindrical in Euphorbia. So these are the two examples of phylloclades. Let me show you the diagrams. It becomes more easier for you. This is tendril, stem tendril, and this is a phylloclade. You could see the stem is modified into a flat succulent structure. This is Opuntia, and the stem here is modified into long cylindrical structures. Why like that? Because leaves are reduced to spines to reduce water loss. If somebody asks you in which areas you are going to see this phylloclade, the answer is phylloclades are seen in arid ante dry or xeric conditions. That looks okay. We are going fast. Now we are talking about subaerial stem modifications. Grass, strawberry and oxalis. These are examples for runner. Look at runner, children. It moves horizontally on the ground. It produces roots and leaves at every node. It runs literally on the ground, producing roots and leaves at every node. That is an example for runner. When these internodes are cut, they propagate vegetatively. Then, what is an offset? Offset, you can say that it's a short runner with only one internode. It's a short runner with only one internode. It contains rosette of leaves and it contains balancing roots. You could see here with root pockets. That is what is called offset. Then you may ask me, what is the difference between stolon and sucker? Stolon, this is a shrub, means a whorl of branches. One of the branch is going to bend down, strike to the ground, produce roots. This branch which bend down strikes the roots after it touches the ground is said to be stolon. Okay, example rose, jasmine, etc. Then what is the sucker? It's an axillary branch which moves vertically up. Stolon is an axillary branch moving vertically down. Sucker is an axillary branch which moves vertically up. Roots develop from underground nodes and leaves develop from aerial nodes. I want you to remember the examples. They are the ones which are very important. All right, then grass, strawberry and oxalis are examples for runner. Mint and jasmine are examples for stolon. Banana, pineapple and chrysanthemum are examples for sucker. Pistia and iconia are examples for offset. Those are examples which I want you to remember. I told you offsets are similar to runner except that they have only one internode, rosette of leaves and balancing roots. I told you stolon is an axillary branch bending down. Sucker is an axillary branch moving up. Children, I brought one or two examples of stem we come across in different parts of our textbook. Cycas, already we know that. It has got an unbranched stem. Sequoia is a redwood tree and it is the branch and the tallest plant in the entire plant kingdom. Thorns, I was talking about thorns, are woody, straight and help the plant to protect from browsing animals. Spines are modified leaves which help the plant to reduce water loss. This is a very important point. You should never get confused between thorns and spines. Thorns and spines, remember that. Phylloclades. Phylloclades are modified stems performing photosynthesis. As leaves are reduced to spines, they are seen plants growing in arid regions. Tricky question. What is the job of phylloclade in Opuntia? Don't say it does the job of reducing water loss. Not at all correct. It does the job of photosynthesis. Then who does the job of reducing water loss in phylloclades? It is the spines. So the job of spine is to reduce water loss, not phylloclade. I think we are going nicely with regard to root and stem, isn't it, children? Yes. Now we go without wasting any time into the next important topic, that is leaves. All of you know that leaves arise from shoot apical meristems and arise from leaf primordia. And unlike root and stem, which contain apical meristems, they show indeterminate growth. Leaves, flowers and fruits, they doesn't have any apical meristems at its tip. So therefore they show determinate growth and show a periodic fall. All right. Then both leaves and flowers in racemose inflorescence are arranged in acropetal manner. You may ask me, what is acropetal manner? Older ones at the base, younger ones at the tip are said to be acropetal manner. Look at any branch, any plant, children. The older leaves will be at the base of the stem and younger leaves will be at the tip. Such type of arrangement is said to be acropetal. Even in racemose inflorescence, older flowers are present at the base, younger flowers are present at the tip. That is also said to be acropetal. So the leaves in majority of the plants and flowers in racemose inflorescence are arranged in acropetal manner. Remember that. And leaf is dorsiventrally flattened. The main function of leaf is photosynthesis. It can also show transpiration. A typical leaf contains 3 parts. All right. And the 3 parts are leaf base, petiole, and leaf lamina. And this point is important. Leaf lamina or leaf blade is highly diversified part. Highly diversified part of the leaf is leaf blade. And the 2 small lateral leaf-like structures on either side of petiole are called stipules. Fabaceae members are with stipulate leaves, and Solanaceae and Liliaceae members, stipules are absent. And what is the job of stalk of the leaf called petiole? It holds the leaf blade. This is the first job. All right, to light. And it also allows leaf blade to flutter. All right, thereby cooling the leaf. Thereby, spelling mistake. All right, thereby cooling the leaf. All right, that's an important point. Then we talk about the leaf bases, children. We have got 3 types of leaf bases: pulvinous leaf base, sheathing leaf base, and storage leaf base. Already in onion and garlic, you have seen the stem is highly condensed. So leaf bases are going to store food. So what you eat in onion and garlic are nothing but sheathing leaf bases. You're going to cry when you cut onion. You know why? Because sulfur compounds are present in these storage leaf bases, which on reaching your eyes, you're going to, it's not a real cry. Of course, you never cry at all. All right. Next is legumes. Legume shows pulvinous leaf base. Means the leaf base is slightly swollen. It helps in sleeping movements. All right. Not that much more than this is not needed. Just remember, it helps in sleeping movements. Then grasses. Grasses show sheathing leaf bases. Have you seen banana plant, children? Many times you have seen. The aerial stem in banana is not a true stem. It is formed by the sheathing of all the leaf bases. Isn't it? Yes. So therefore, banana is a monocot. So in majority of monocot, you are going to see the sheathing leaf bases. Then we talk about the venation. There are 2 types of venation: reticulate venation and parallel venation. What is the meaning of venation? Veins and veinlets on leaf is said to be venation. Question you're going to ask me is, what are veins? They are nothing but vascular bundles. They are nothing but xylem and phloem. They help in conduction of water, minerals, and food. They provide some kind of mechanical support to leaf lamina as well, because xylem contain lignified whorls, thick whorls. Now, there are 2 types of venation, children. One is said to be reticulate and other is said to be parallel. In reticulate venation, if you observe, this is the main midrib. These are the lateral veins. So what you're going to see is that the veinlets are in the form of a network. The veinlets are in the form of a network. Hence, you call it as reticulate venation. Then what about parallel venation? In parallel venation, this is the median midrib. Yes, this is the median midrib. And these are the lateral veins. And you could see the lateral veins. Lateral veins are arranged parallel to each other. Both of them are examples for venation. This is called parallel venation. This is reticulate. Now, how can I define venation? Arrangement of lateral veins as seen in monocots, or arrangement of veinlets as seen in dicots is said to be venation. So veinlets forms reticulum, hence reticulate venation. Lateral veins are arranged parallel to each other, hence you call it as parallel venation. Point to remember is that majority of dicots shows reticulate, not all. Eryngium and Colophyllum are 2 dicots which show parallel venation. Parallel venation is generally seen in monocots, but not in all monocots. 2 monocots, Smilax and Dioscorea, are going to show reticulate venation, is a point to remember. Then, this is an important point. The meaning of simple leaf and compound leaf. Now, please concentrate. What is the difference between simple leaf and compound leaf? Look here. This is simple leaf, children. All right. This is the median midrib, and these are the lateral veins. Now, what did you observe? This leaf lamina is not showing any incisions. Incisions means some lobes in pushings. It is not showing any lobes. Can I call this as simple leaf also? Yes, I can call this as simple leaf because it is also showing some incisions. This is not showing any incisions. It is showing some incisions. This is also said to be a simple leaf. Can I call this as a simple leaf? Yes, even it is showing what is called incisions. This is also an example of simple leaf. Now it's very clear. A simple leaf may be without incisions as seen here, or it may have some incisions. Incisions may be on either side of midrib, or incisions may be at the tip of the petiole. Agreed? All these three are examples of simple leaves. Therefore, I said simple leaves, incisions are either absent or incisions are seen but they do not touch the midrib, or they do not touch the tip of the petiole. Either they do not touch the midrib or do not touch the tip of the petiole. Such type of leaves are called simple leaves. Then what are compound leaves? Listen, incisions are always seen and they touch midrib, breaking the leaf into many leaflets. Then, did I made a mistake? Yes, it should be pinnately. All right, this is a pinnately. All right, this is pinnately. The incisions are always seen and they touch midrib, breaking the leaf into many leaflets. Or incisions touch the tip of the petiole. As a result, leaflets are seen at the tip of the petiole. Pinnately compound leaf possesses leaflets on either side of rachis. It appears like a branch. It possesses buds in the axil of leaves but not in the axil of leaflets. Shall I show you the diagram? Okay, I go back here. Children, I said this is simple leaf, this is simple leaf, and this is simple leaf. Now listen, where I call it as pinnately compound leaf. Look here. When this lobe goes further and touch the midrib, when this lobe goes further and touch the midrib, what is the diagram? How is the diagram look? This becomes one leaflet, another leaflet, another leaflet. Touch the midrib. Leaflet, leaflet, leaflet. This is no more a simple leaf. This is said to be a compound leaf. Pinnately compound leaf. This is no more a midrib. This is now called rachis. These are not leaves. These are called leaflets. It is looking like a branch. Does it have axillary buds in the axil of leaflets? No, no. Does it have axillary bud in the axil of a leaf? Yes, it can be. Axillary bud can be in the axil of entire leaf, but not in the axil of leaflets. Neem is an example. A gymnosperm with pinnately compound leaf, cycas. A pteridophyte with pinnately compound leaf, ferns. Isn't it? Ferns are pinnately compound leaves. These are all very important points to remember. All right. Here only I have shown. Leaflets are there on either side of rachis. It appears like a branch. It possesses buds in the axil of leaves, but not in the axil of leaflets. Example is neem, cycas, and ferns. Palmately compound leaf possesses leaflets at the tip of the petiole and rachis is absent. Look here, children. I told you, these are the lobes. Yes or no? And what is this leaf? This is a simple leaf only, not compound leaf, simple leaf. When it becomes a compound leaf, when this lobe goes and touch the tip of the petiole, when it's going to touch the tip of the petiole, then this becomes one leaflet. Touch the tip of the petiole, this becomes one more leaflet. Touch, this becomes one more leaflet. Then this is a simple leaf and this is a compound leaf, and these are called leaflets. Do you see rachis here? No way you're going to see rachis, because leaflets are there at the tip of the petiole. This is the petiole. Leaflets are there at the tip of the petiole. Do you see axillary buds in the axil of entire leaf? Yes. Do you see axillary buds in the axil of leaflets? No. Example for that is silk cotton. Silk cotton is an example of palmately compound leaves. Did I explain properly, children? I think I have did it properly. And now, not now, you already understood what is pinnately and palmately. Look here, this entire exercise, what I'm doing for the past 3 to 4 days, is not meant to make you understand anything new, because in fact you know everything. It is only to quickly revise this entire topic. Quickly revise, because reading sitting in the house alone is a very difficult task. So if somebody is there like me who can read for you, all right, it is a very nice and entertaining job. I hope that you are understanding this and you're following it and you're liking it. Yes or no? So that's it. So next one, what we have is Phyllotaxy, children. Arrangement of leaves on stem is said to be Phyllotaxy. China rose, mustard and sunflower alternate Phyllotaxy. One leaf at each node like this. This is said to be alternate. And Calotropis and Guava, there are two leaves at each node. This is said to be opposite. Alstonia, there are a whorl of leaves at each node. This is said to be whorl Phyllotaxy, Alstonia. Now we talk about leaf modifications. When we talk about leaf modifications, Pisum shows leaf tendrils. Shall I show you Pisum? This is pinnately compound leaves. Pinnately compound leaves. Now what do you see here? Some of the leaflets at the tip, they are modified into tendrils. You cannot and should not make any silly errors. I've told you many times, children. Look, if a question is difficult and majority of students cannot answer, and if you belong to that category, no damage done. That question almost get cancelled. But if a question is easy and if you make a mistake, then only you are going to lose mark, not all others. Then that becomes a very costly mistake and it will have a huge price tag. Why I'm saying so? If you don't see this, leaf tendrils and stem tendrils, surely you're going to make a mistake. Vitis and guards are examples for stem tendrils, and Pisum is an example for leaf tendril. Okay, such kind of mistakes, one or two you did, all right, in the third May exam. Now you're not going to do it, right? Then after that, Australian acacia, phyllote. Now what is phyllote? Now listen carefully. This is again this have pinnately compound leaf, children. Australian acacia again have pinnately compound leaf. You know, all the leaflets fall down. When all the leaflets fall down, who is going to perform photosynthesis? The petiole, or you can even say a primary rachis. Petiole is becoming flat and photosynthetic. Such photosynthetic petiole is called phyllote. An example for that is Australian acacia. Don't get confused between phyllocolate and phyllote. When the stem performs photosynthesis, it's a phyllocolate. And when the petiole of the leaf perform photosynthesis, it's phyllote. Onion and garlic storage leaves we already discussed. In your 8th standard or 9th standard, your teacher said that in bryophyllum, these are the leaf notches. There are many buds in these leaf notches. And these are examples of reproductive leaves, you know that. Nepenthes and Dionia, they are partially heterotrophs because they digest the insects and they contain trap leaves. Question you're going to ask me, can I call them as carnivorous plants? Yes. Why they digest the insects? They digest the insects simply because they grow in nitrogen deficient soils. So they don't know how to get nitrogen. So therefore, they trap the insect, digest their protein, convert them into amino acids, use their amino acids to produce their own proteins. Anyway, we don't have much in the syllabus. Now, staying with some other area, Salaginella, day before yesterday, we discussed about that. The leaves are small. Ferns, their leaves are large macrophylls. In Cycas, it is pinnately compound leaves. In Pinus, it contains needle-like leaves. In Jingo, it is palmately lobed simple leaves. Laminaria, Fucus, Dictyota, Porphyra. All right, frond is a leaf-like structure. In Funaria, Polytrichum and Sphagnum, you see leaf-like structures because they are haploid and that doesn't have cuticle, stomata, mesophyll, xylem, phloem, stele. That is the reason they are called leaf-like structures. Equisetum, a whorl of branches and reduced leaves on it, hence called cotton, larkspur and coriandrum. They show developmental heterophyly, two shapes of leaves in its development. Ranunculus, environmental heterophyly, two shapes of leaves due to aerial and submerged habitat. Submerged leaves are dissected, aerial leaves are normal. I hope that you understood the entire vegetative morphology in a best possible manner, isn't it? Now we get into the most important part and the last part of our discussion, that is flower. Now, before I go to flower, children, there is one concept of racemose and cymose, and all of you know, in racemose, older flower are present at the base, younger flowers are present at the tip. These are all the flowers. Older is the base, younger at the tip. This peduncle never ends in a flower. This type of arrangement is said to be racemose. Okay? Fabaceae members mostly shows racemose inflorescence. Older flower at the base, younger flower at the tip. Arrangement of flowers is acropetal. Opening of flowers is also acropetal, means opening is from base to tip. This is going to open first, then this, then this, then this, and then this. Can I call indefinite inflorescence? Because peduncle is not ending in a flower, so it can grow indefinitely. Have you seen jasmine rose? You have seen many times. Here the peduncle always ends in a flower, isn't it, children? Yes. And on either side of it, you see two flowers like this. Look at jasmine. Now look at the difference. Peduncle never ends in a flower, racemose. Peduncle always ends in a flower, cymose. Older flower at the base, younger flower at the tip. Older flower at the tip, younger flower at the base. Opposite to this. This is said to be acropetal arrangement. This is said to be basipetal arrangement. Older at the tip, younger at the base. Opening of flowers is from base to tip. You can say acropetal opening. Opening of flowers is from tip to base. All right. These are the points. Because this flower is older, so it's going to open first, then these. All right. That's about inflorescence. Racemose, cymose. Indefinite, definite. Acropetal arrangement and opening. Here you can say basipetal arrangement and centrifugal opening. Why I say centrifugal? This is going to open first, then this. Opening is from center to periphery, centrifugal. Now, what is about the flower? Flower is a condensed shoot. Look here, I'll tell you, this is a stem, Andy. All of you know, this is the stem. What does this stem contain? These are the sepals, these are the petals, these are the stamens, and these are the carpels. Okay? But never you have seen flower like this. Shall I tell you why? Because this node, 4 nodes it has. All the 3 internodes, all these 3 internodes are highly condensed. When all these 3 internodes are highly condensed, it looks like this, isn't it? Then all these appear to arise from the same point. All this appear to arise from the same point. Yes. What is this condensed? This is axis. What is this condensed axis called? Thalamus. Thalamus. And this thalamus is going to bear the leaves. Why I call leaves? Because these are arising from node. Anything which arises from node is a leaf. So therefore sepals, petals, stamens and carpels are rightly called sporophylls because they arise from nodes. And the thalamus is highly condensed, then all 4 appear to arise from the same point. Highly condensed stem is called thalamus. It possesses floral leaves at 4 nodes. It possesses 4 floral whorls. This is called calyx. And each leaf is called sepal. This is called corolla, whorl. And each one is said to be petal, just like a class. A class is comparable to corolla. And each student is said to be a petal. Okay? Just like that. Stamens. Each leaf is stamen. And a whorl of stamen, Androecium. Each leaf is said to be carpel or pistil. And a whorl of carpel or pistil is said to be Gynoecium. So how many whorls it has? Typical flower will have normally 4 whorls. And it has 3 internodes. And flowers are seen only in angiosperms. All of you know that. All right. In gymnosperms, this point is important. Cones, strobilus and lax are present and they are comparable to flowers. Why they are not flowers? Because they doesn't have perianth. That is the reason they are not called flowers. Shoot apical meristems sometimes get transformed into floral meristems. Leaves in shoot apical meristems transform into floral appendages. When the shoot tip transforms into flower, it is always solitary. Shoot tip sometimes transforms into peduncle and many flowers on them. Then it is called inflorescence. We already studied about that. Stalk of the flower is called pedicel, just like the stalk of the leaf is called petiole. We already discussed this. The swollen condensed axis present at the tip of the pedicel, isn't it? This is the pedicel. And the swollen condensed axis, this is it. This, and this. So this is the swollen condensed axis. The swollen condensed axis present at the tip of the pedicel is said to be thalamus. And you're all going to see the floral leaves here. All right. So you could see, children, this is the pedicel. This is the receptacle. Receptacle is otherwise called thalamus. Sepals, petals are colored because of anthocyanin pigments. These are the stamens and these are the carpels. What are non-essential whorls, accessory organs? They are first and second whorl, namely calyx and corolla. The floral leaves of calyx are called sepals and those of corolla are called petals. They have no direct role in sexual reproduction. The two whorls are distinct and the outer whorl is generally green and the inner whorl is colored. This is most commonly seen in dicots. And both the whorls, this point is important, both the whorls are similar in shape, size and color. In lily, you call it as perianth. When sepals and petals look alike, you call them as tepals or perianth leaves. That is the characteristic of lily. When a flower is said to be complete, a flower is said to be complete when it contains calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. When a flower is said to be bisexual, when it has androecium and gynoecium, you call it as bisexual. Next one we talk about is symmetry. This is something which you know it. If a flower can be cut into two equal halves, passing through the center in all planes, you call it as radially symmetric or actinomorphic. All right. And if a flower is said to be zygomorphic, when a flower can be cut into two equal halves only in one plane, anterior-posterior plane, then it is said to be zygomorphic. Shall I tell you the easy way to remember this? Listen, you have seen many flowers. Look at the petals. If all the petals are similar in shape and size, I repeat again, if all the petals are similar in shape and size, it will be definitely actinomorphic. If any petal is different from other petals in a flower, then the flower will be generally zygomorphic. Look at datura, all the petals are similar, actinomorphic. Look at mustard, all the petals are similar, actinomorphic. Look at lily, all the tepals are similar in shape and size, actinomorphic. All right, look at legumes, Fabaceae. Posterior petal is large, anterior two petals are small. It means that all the petals are not similar in shape and size, therefore it is zygomorphic. It can be cut into two equal halves only in anterior-posterior plane. Cassia, Gulmohar and members of Fabaceae, the flowers are zygomorphic. Look at ray flowers of Asteraceae. All the 5 petals form a tube-like structure in disc flowers, but in ray flowers, the 2 petals are reduced. Then the flower can be cut into 2 equal halves only in one plane. Therefore, ray flowers of Asteraceae are zygomorphic, disc flowers of Asteraceae, that is sunflower, are actinomorphic. That's a very important point to note. All right. Both actinomorphic and zygomorphic flowers are called regular flowers because they can be cut into 2 equal halves. Canna is an example of an irregular flower because it cannot be cut into 2 equal halves. Okay, children? I think you understood. So in your syllabus, Fabaceae shows zygomorphic along with Cassia and Gulmohar. Cassia and Gulmohar belong to Cisalpinaceae. Whereas Solanaceae and Liliaceae and Brassicaceae, they all shows actinomorphic flowers. Even Malvaceae actinomorphic, even Poaceae, this is tricky, Poaceae is zygomorphic. All right, ray flowers of Asteraceae is zygomorphic. Disc flowers of Asteraceae is actinomorphic. Okay, chalo. Next, the number of floral appendages. The number of floral appendages or leaves in each whorl is said to be merosity. All right, the number of floral appendages or leaves in each whorl is said to be merosity. Trimerous. Trimerous. Look here. There are 3 sepals. No, should not call sepals. Outer 3 members of perianth. There are 3 petals. Outer 3 members of inner 3 members of perianth. 6 stamens and 3 carpels. So it is 3 or multiples of 3. Therefore, you call trimerous. Some of you are getting confused between floral appendages and floral whorls. Children, a typical flower will have 4 whorls. Then what are floral appendages? Leaves present in each whorl. Leaves present in each whorl is said to be a floral appendage. Okay, coming to Poaceae. All right. Poaceae, sepals and petals are reduced to lodicules. All right. There are 3 stamens and there are 1 carpel. All right. This lodicule word is important. There are 2 to 3 lodicules. Next is tetramerous flowers. All right. There are 4 sepals, 4 petals, 6 stamens and 2 carpels. 4 or multiples of 4. All right. Therefore, it is tetramerous. And all of you know the 4 petals form cruciform corolla, cross-like corolla. Then pentamerous flowers, 5 or multiples of 5. Fabaceae, 5 sepals, 5 petals, 10 stamens, 1 carpel. Pentamerous. Solanaceae, 5 sepals, 5 petals, 5 stamens, 2 carpels. Again pentamerous. Malvaceae, 5 sepals, 5 petals, many stamens, 5 carpels. I'm talking about hibiscus. This is also pentamerous. Asteraceae, disc flowers, 5 sepals, 5 petals, 5 stamens and 2 carpels. Pentamerous. Ray flowers, you know ray flowers are unisexual, female. So therefore 5 sepals, 5 petals, 0 stamens and 2 carpels. All right, that is again very important. Now, this is one area, children, from where the questions have come in large numbers in your previous exam. Types of flowers based on the position of calyx, corolla and androecium with respect to ovary. I don't want to waste much of your time. Look here. The calyx here, the thalamus here is conical. The ovary arising from higher height when compared to remaining floral members. Such type of flowers are said to be hypogynous. Look here. The thalamus is conical. All right. Ovaries arising from here. And the remaining floral members arise below the ovary, below the ovary. Don't look here, below. Such type of flowers are called hypogynous. Little misleading word. Hypo ante below, gynous ante gynoecium. The remaining floral members or leaves are present below gynoecium or ovary superior. Such type of flowers are called hypogynous. In your syllabus, Fabaceae, Solanaceae, Liliaceae, even Brassicaceae, all 4 families are examples for hypogynous flowers. Now, what about perigynous? Ovary is partly inferior. All right, now how is it? Look here, look at this diagram, children. The thalamus is slightly cup-shaped. When the thalamus is slightly cup-shaped, ovaries arise from the center. The remaining floral members are smart. They are climbing on the rim and standing there. Then naturally, the ovary is slightly below the remaining floral members. Therefore, we say that ovary is partly inferior. Example for that is plum, remember, plum, peach and rose are examples for perigynous. So all peas, perigynous, partly inferior, plum, peach and even rose. This is very important, children. Epigynous, position of ovary, we say inferior. All right, other floral appendages are above ovary. Margins of thalamus grow upwards, enclosing the ovary completely and fusing with ovary wall. Look at this. The other floral leaves wants to defeat ovary at any cost. So therefore, what did they do? They have colluded with thalamus and made thalamus look deep cup shape. Look here, the thalamus is deep cup shape. When the thalamus is deep cup shape, ovaries arise from the center. The remaining floral members arising from the rim, and as a result, the ovary is inferior. And ovary wall is fused with thalamus wall as well. Very important is guava, sunflower and cucumber. Guava, sunflower and cucumber. This is a very popular area. Very, very important unit. This is called epigynous flowers. All right. Then number of floral whorls. Not that much important. A typical flower is tetracyclic. All right. Liliaceae is pentacyclic. You may ask me, how can a flower be pentacyclic? I'll tell you. Stamens are there in 2 whorls. Outer 3 stamens, inner 3 stamens. So naturally pentacyclic. Outer whorl of perianth, 1. Inner whorl of perianth, 2. Outer whorl of stamen, 3. Inner whorl of stamen, 4. And 1 whorl of carpel, 5. So therefore it is pentacyclic. Then what about Brassicaceae? Not only stamens are in 2 whorls, even the sepals are also in 2 whorls. So 2 whorls of sepals, 1 whorl of petal, 2 whorls of stamens, 1 whorl of carpel. So it is hexacyclic. Can these questions be asked? No. All right. So in Liliaceae, stamens are in 2 whorls and pentacyclic. In Brassicaceae, both sepals and stamens are in 2 whorls. Then we talk about aestivation, children. So let me show you the diagrams. That becomes more easier. This is valvate aestivation. You could see the margins touching each other. When the margins touch each other or nearer to each other, you call it as, look at this diagram. You could easily understand. Valvate. Example for this is calotropis. All right. Then twisted. Have you seen rose? One margin is inwards in each petal, one margin is outwards. One margin in of each petal, one margin is in, one margin is out. You could see here. Out, in, out, in, out, in. Look at here. See, out and in. This out and this is in. This type of aestivation is said to be twisted. China rose, cotton, all right, and a lady's finger. All three members of Malvaceae. They are examples for twisted. Then we have what is called, I want to talk about vexillary, because time and again in NEET questions have come from vexillary. Look at this posterior petal. Axis side is said to be posterior. Bract side is said to be anterior. This posterior petal is largest and large. It attracts the insect. It is called standard petal. Listen, children. Vexillary aestivation is important. Standard petal. And the lateral two petals are called wing petals. And look at the anterior two petals. They are the smallest. And they are fused. And they are called keel or carina. All right. Are all the petals similar? No. Is this symmetry zygomorphic? Yes. Cassia, Gulmaha and Fabaceae. Symmetry is zygomorphic. That's also a very most common question. So the overlapping is posterior-anterior. Posterior petal overlap the anterior. Posterior petal overlap the anterior. So overlapping is posterior-anterior. This is called vexillary. Then in imbricate, here there is no regular overlapping of petals. Of course, you could see one petal is completely outside, other is completely inside. Overlapping is not regular. Such type of aestivation is called imbricate aestivation. Cassia and Gulmaha are examples for imbricate. Calotropis for valvate. China rose, cotton and lady's finger for twisted. Cassia and Gulmaha, no regular overlapping of petals, imbricate. Overlapping of petals is posterior-anterior. That is called vexillary. Example for vexillary is members of Fabaceae, pea plant. All right, Fabaceae members. Chalo, calyx, children. First whorl is the outermost whorl. The leaf-like appendages are called sepals. They're green in color. They protect the flower in bud condition. They may be free. If they are free, polysepalous. If they are fused, gamosepalous. They are persistent. This point is important. They are persistent in the members of Solanaceae and Asteraceae. In Asteraceae, they form pappus. All right. In Fabaceae, how many sepals are there? 5. They are fused with valvate or imbricate aestivation. In Solanaceae, there are 5 sepals fused and persistent. All right. With valvate aestivation. Liliaceae, 6 tepals. Okay, I'm not calling sepals. 6 tepals. They are also fused with valvate aestivation. This is important again. Outer 3, inner 3. They are fused with each other. Valvate aestivation. Brassicaceae, 4 sepals. They are free. This is interesting. Polysepalous. Example for that is Brassicaceae. And they show valvate. Does it show valvate aestivation in Brassicaceae? No. All right. It shows imbricate aestivation. I made a mistake here. All right. It is imbricate. All right. Because the outer two, the posterior, you could see, children, these 2 sepals are totally outside and these 2 sepals are totally inside. So therefore, this is going to show imbricate aestivation. All right. Then Malvaceae, 5 fused with valvate aestivation. Asteraceae, reduced to pappus. This point is important. Poaceae, reduced to lodicules. What should be the take for new families? Even though not a single question is asked in the 3rd May exam. Not only that, last year also, there are 2 NEET exams. All right, RE-NEET was conducted to some students. In both the papers, not even a single question have come from new families. I advise you to read new families. Don't leave it. But at the same time, don't read for more amount of time. Okay? Take a tabular form, make it into tabular form and start reading it. So don't waste much of your time there. But don't skip reading. Then we talk about corolla, children. The second whorl of floral leaves. They are colored. They aid in insect pollination. They may be free, polypetalous, fused, gamopetalous. It is papilionaceous in Fabaceae. It is funnel-shaped in Datura. It is round, the corolla is round in Solanum. It is tube-like in disc flowers of sunflower. It is tongue-shaped, ray flowers. This is zygomorphic. This is actinomorphic. This is actinomorphic. This is actinomorphic. This is zygomorphic. All of you know that. Cruciform corolla. This is actinomorphic. Rosaceous corolla. This is also actinomorphic. All right. Fabaceae, 5 petals free with vexillary aestivation. 1. This is very important. Solanaceae, 5 fused, rotate, funnel or wheel shape. Liliaceae, 6 tuples fused with valvate aestivation. Brassicaceae, 4 petals, cruciform, look like a cross. Malvaceae, 5 petals free with valvate aestivation. Asteraceae, disc flower shows tubular corolla. Ray flower shows ligulate corolla. Poaceae, they are reduced to lodicules. This is a very easy one to remember. Absolutely no problem. Then children, Androecium. The third floral whorl is Androecium. The stalk of the stamen is filament. It is attached to thalamus or with petals. In sexual reproduction chapter it is given. All right. The fertile part of it is said to be anther. This is the filament. All of you know that. This is an anther. All right. So if you take a section of an anther, this is one lobe. This is the connective. This is another lobe. Okay. 2 lobes. This lobe. This is one lobe. Another 2 lobes. So a typical anther. All right. A typical anther. All of you remember. A typical anther is bilobed. And how many theca? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 theca it has. All right. A typical anther will have 4 theca. Then why you call dithecous? Because there are 2 theca in each lobe. There are 2 theca in each lobe. That is the reason it is called dithecous. Well, you know this. All right. Anther has 2 lobes, 4 theca, 4 microsporangia. Each microsporangium is covered by 4 whorl layers. Length of stamens, children, 2 short and 2 long. In salvia, 2 short and 4 long. In brassica, you know this. This is important. Cassia, sterile stamens, you call them as staminodes. All right, imbricate aestivation. Then we talk polyandrous. All 6 stamens are free. When they are free from each other, you call polyandrous, as seen lily. Stamens fuse with each other. When stamens fuse with each other, you call it as cohesion. When the stamens fuse with other floral leaves, you call it as adhesion. Let me show you the diagrams which can help you to remember. Look here, children. All the filaments are fused. Anthers are free. They are forming one bundle, monoadalphy. All the filaments are fused. Anthers are free. They are forming 2 bundles. This is diadalphy. All the filaments are fused. Anthers are free. Many bundles, polyadalphy. China rose, monoadalphy. Fabaceae, diadalphy. Citrus is polyadalphy. You could see the China rose here. All the filaments fused. You could see the anthers free. This is a wonderful example for monoadalphy. Coming to adhesion of stamens. Epipetalous. Filaments fuse with petals. This is seen in Solanaceae, Malvaceae and Asteraceae. Epitepalous or epiphyllous. Filaments united with tuples. Outer whorl 3, inner whorl 3. They are in 2 whorls. All right. That is said to be tuples. That is epiphyllous. Now the last point, children. With this we'll complete this chapter. Gynoecium, 4th floral whorl. 2nd whorl of essential organs. When the carpels are free, you call them as apocarpus, rose, lotus, custard apple, strawberry, micalia. All right. Placentation. Look here. When the carpel is folded like this, all right, then all the ovules are attached on one margin. On what is this margin? This is said to be the dorsal suture. This is the ventral suture. When I fold, I take a book and I fold like this. All right. Then when I fold like this, then that is said to be what is called the dorsal suture. This is the dorsal suture and this is the ventral suture. All the ovules are attached on the margins of ventral suture. Ventral suture. This is said to be marginal placentation. Example is Fabaceae. Then what is axial placentation? How is the transverse section of this? It looks like this. Yes or no? Yes. So then what is this suture? This is the dorsal suture. This is ventral suture. So this is the dorsal suture and this is the ventral suture. This is how it looks. All right. This is how it looks with regard to marginal placentation. All right, then what is axial placentation? What is axial placentation? If you have got a book, I think I can explain. Just 1 minute. Now look here, children. This is the carpel. Yes or no? This carpel is folded. I'm going to fold this carpel. Yes. This becomes the ovary. Yes, ovary. Then this line is said to be the dorsal suture, back. And this line is said to be ventral suture. So this is the diagram. This is the diagram. This is the dorsal suture. All right. And this is the ventral suture. This is the dorsal suture, and this is the ventral suture. And if I take a transverse section, does it not look like this? Yes. This is the dorsal suture. All right. This is the ventral suture. Don't you see in bean all the ovules are attached on the margins of ventral suture? Absolutely correct. You understood this properly now. Example is Fabaceae, marginal placentation. Number of carpels only 1. Number of locules means the chambers is only 1. Number of ovules many, one behind the other, on the margins of ventral suture. Look here. I repeat again. This is the ovary. Ovary. This is the dorsal suture, back. This is the ventral suture. Ovules are attached on this ridge of the ventral suture. Then we talk about axial placentation. Axial placentation is an extension of marginal. This is one carpel. Shall I take a transverse section? Yes. Shall I put it here? Yes. I take one more carpel. I take one more carpel. Yes. Now what did you observe? All the ventral sutures united in the center to form an axis. This is said to be axial placentation. Have you seen lemon? Yes. In lemon, don't you see like this? Yes. So this is one carpel, dorsal and ventral suture. One more carpel, dorsal and ventral suture. Dorsal, ventral, dorsal, ventral, dorsal, ventral, dorsal, ventral. All the ventral sutures united to form an axis. In orange, one bean-like structure is one carpel. One bean-like structure in orange is one carpel, like this. If you open like this, don't you see the seeds just like bean? Yes. So do you see one bean-like structure in orange? No. Many? Yes. Many carpels? Yes. And that placentation is said to be what is called axial. Then what is free central? Free central is similar to axial, except that the septa will not be there. So only one chamber, one locule, free central placentation. The example for free central is dianthus and primrose. Example for axial is Solanaceae, Liliaceae, Malvaceae, citrus. Example for marginal is Poaceae. Then what is parietal placentation? Listen carefully. This is one carpel. What I do? I am folding partially. I am not folding completely. Look at this. Partially. I am taking one more carpel. I am folding partially. Shall I take a transverse section? Yes. This is one carpel half folded. Dorsal suture. And like this. And this is one more carpel I take half folded. All right. So wherever the two carpels fuse, this is the transverse section. Wherever the two carpels fuse on this inner wall, ovules are attached. Wherever the two carpels fuse on this inner wall, ovules are attached. This type of placentation is said to be parietal placentation. It is characteristic of mustard and argemone. Easy to remember. There are two carpels. There is only one chamber locule, but later it becomes bilocular due to the formation of false septum. Come on, basal placentation, a single ovule attached at the base is said to be basal placentation. Example is Asteraceae and members of Poaceae. This is easy to remember. All right, this is one carpel, dorsal suture, ventral. One more carpel, dorsal, ventral. One more carpel, dorsal, ventral. When the septa vanish, it becomes free central. This is carpel, half folded. One more carpel, half folded. This is a dorsal suture. One more carpel, half folded. So this is very easy to remember. That is parietal placentation. Fabaceae, there is only one carpel, marginal placentation, superior ovary. Solanaceae. These are all the examples which are there in your textbook. I kept at one point. Hypogynous, perigynous plum, peach and rose, epigynous, guava, cucumber, sunflower, valvate aestivation, calotropis, twisted aestivation, china rose and cotton, vexillary aestivation, pea, imbricate, cassia and gulmohar, unequal length of stamen, salvia, not salvinia, and mustard, Monoadelphi China rose, Diadelphi P, Polyadelphi citrus, Polyandrous free stamens lily, Epocarpus lotus and rose, marginal P, axial China rose, lemon tomato, free central primrose and dianthus, parietal mustard and argemone, basal marigold and sunflower. Sterile stamens are called staminodes. And I don't want to talk much about fruit and seed. In embryology, in sexual reproduction in plants, we'll be studying about it. Because what we have in fruit is a drupe. Mango is a drupe, coconut is a drupe. Why you call it drupe? When it has got a stony endocarp, you call it as a drupe. And the edible part of mango is the mesocarp, and the edible part of coconut is the endosperm. Remember that. Apple and strawberry is false fruit. All right. Seed, then precursor characters to seed habit, but no seed is alaginal, very important. Seed habit is seen in gymnosperms and angiosperms. Seed producing plants are called spermatophytes. Seed possess seed coat and embryo. Look at children, I take one seed. This is a dicot seed. These are the two cotyledons. And this is an embryonal axis, a rough diagram. If I take a seed longitudinally. All right, simple diagram. This is the outer seed coat tester, inner seed coat tegumen. These are the two cotyledons. This is an embryonal axis. This is called radicle. This is called plumule. You may ask me, where is the endosperm? Endosperm used to be there. Now it is no more there. Why? Because the cotyledon absorb all the food. Outer tester, inner tegumen, two cotyledons, embryonal axis, radicle, plumule, endosperm is short-lived. This is said to be a dicot seed. Dicot seed. Then what about monocot seed? Monocot seed, again, look here. This is the endosperm, which is well developed. Outermost layer of endosperm is called aileron layer. This is the aileron layer, which is a protein layer. This is a single cotyledon. This is an embryonal axis. This is called plumule, surrounded by coleoptile. Radicle, surrounded by coleorhiza. And there is a reduced cotyledon here, because there should be two cotyledons. Reduced cotyledon, and this reduced cotyledon is said to be epiblast. So endosperm here is short-lived. Endosperm is persistent. Two cotyledons. Here there is only one cotyledon called scutellum if it's a grass. And this reduced cotyledon is called epiblast. Radicle and plumule are not covered by any covering. Radicle and plumule are covered by protective covering. This is a grass seed, and this is a dicot seed. This is the monocot seed, in which the endosperm store plenty of starch, and the outermost layer is going to store proteins. Aileron layer, it is triploid. Chalo children, I think that's enough. That's the story of morphology. All right, with regard to root, I'm pretty sure that we did some justice with regard to this topic. We'll meet with some other topic in tomorrow's class. Till then, keep reading, keep healthy.